welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Live for the next half hour, join us as we provide you with all the scores, news, and updates to everything Franklin County sports. And now, here's your host, Bobby C.
Hello and welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. I want to welcome you here today, and I want to let everyone know that we are so glad to be back for the spring season. Yeah, we had a few weeks off because they were in the middle of getting the practices going and making that transition from winter sports into the spring sports season, but we are in full effect. All the teams have all played at least one game or have had at least one match. And we'll talk about all the sports that are happening here in Franklin County in just a moment. Want to say thank you to our friends at Franklin First Federal Credit Union. Yep, our friends at Franklin First Federal Credit Union want to remind you that you have a chance to be able to be a member. All you got to do is go to franklinfirst.org for all the details. Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services has been our local audiologist now for almost 30 years at alberthearing.com. And don't forget about our friends at Manny's. Manny's, yep, your place for great appliances on Route 9 in Hadley, also on River Street in Greenfield. Well, Philippe Simone is our lone guy. We want to say a big, huge thank you to Johnny Meisner for the wonderful job that he did as our producer here at Greenfield Community Television for a while. Big congratulations goes out to John as he now is working with 22 News. Yep, he'll be working with 22 News now, moving on to bigger and better places, and we're very proud of him. And so Philippe and I will be the dynamic duo that will be able to keep everything going here on the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Well, we decided we're going to change up our format a little bit, and we're going to try this out for size and see if it works out much better, especially for all you great sports fans out there for your individual schools. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to do all the sports for the week per school. And today, we start out with Frontier. Well, the Frontier boys baseball team has had a wonderful start. They are off to a great start on the season. You want to talk about a team that's really good? They are excellent. And they also have great pitching as well. And I'll tell you, the one guy you got to watch out for this season is Tyler Baranowski. He has had a wonderful season so far for the Red Hawks. They're off to a 3-0 start, and a big congratulations goes out to them on a great kickoff to the 2022 season. They will definitely be a team to contend with this season. Well, the Frontier Girls Varsity Softball team is a young team, but I will tell you they picked up a first victory of the year on their second game, but they ended up getting beat by Athol in their first one of the season, 11-7. The Athol Bears, well, they ended up winning opening day. They scored 5 runs in the second inning. Then they tacked on a couple more in the third, picked up an early 7-0 lead. And then all of a sudden, when people thought it was going to be a blowout, well, Frontier started to make some waves themselves. But they ended up getting beat in the end. Frontier had a double by Sophia Pinardi, also singles by Melanie Ring, also Ashley Taylor. She also had a chance to be able to have 5 strikeouts in the loss. I want to let folks know that Coach Dean made it very clear that we have a lot of growing to do. We're still a very young team. We even have some kids that are playing middle school that have been able to come and play for us. So middle school students are playing varsity softball at Frontier. And we want you to know that going into the season, he knew they'd be young, and he also knew that there was a learning curve. And right now, I think this team is only going to get better by the end of the year, and Coach Dean feels the same way. Well, Frontier picked up a 24-10 win over Hopkins Academy in their second game of the year. Yep, Frontier took advantage of all of its runners at the plate, and they were able to score some big runs with 24 runs in the game. Delaney Fifield, she finished the game with a team-high 6 RBI. She also had 3 hits. She scored 2 runs. Skylar Steele, middle schooler, yep, 3 for 4 at the plate. Ashley Taylor, she picked up 4 RBIs, 2 hits. Chloe Cutting, she ended up having a solid day as well. She ended up scoring 3 runs, and she got herself a hit. Ashley Taylor secured the win on the mound. She ended up throwing 4 in a third innings. She ends up striking out 3 batters in the victory. By the way, Frontier ended up winning in 5 innings in their third game of the year, and that's where they stand right now. So they're 2-1. with a 13-1 victory over Smith Academy. The Frontier softball team did a nice job crushing the ball. Matter of fact, they ended up with 11 hits, and they had home runs from Skylar Steele. She led the way with a pair of home runs in the game, and she is just amazing. And then she also ended up with 3 hits and 4 RBI on the day. Also, Michaela Santos and Ashley Taylor and Delaney Fifield, well, they had solo home runs too. So a nice job right there to kick off their season as they end up 2-1 so far. And then they get into the beginning of this week. And that was the game that they played yesterday. That's right, yesterday afternoon, they ended up playing a very dominating team in Agawam. And the Agawam Brownies, yep, they came up with the 13-3 victory over the young Frontier team. But I will say that Skylar Steele picked up her 3rd home run of the young season. This girl's only a middle schooler, folks. Oh, she is going to be an amazing talent. We're going to be saying that name for a long time. Michaela Santos, Melanie Ring, they also racked up some multiple hits as well for Frontier. We can let you know that Ashley Taylor and Olivia Michon, also Melanie Ring, well, they combined for 2 strikeouts in the circle for Frontier in the loss. So there you go, 2-2 for the young Frontier team as of our broadcast here today. Well, in boys track and field, we can let you know that Frontier had an easy time with Pioneer. They ended up winning in boys track and field 121-16. And Frontier's Jack Vasilio continued to break records. That's what this kid does. And he was able to get it done again, as he is just an amazing person when it comes to the pole vault. Matter of fact, he's one of the best in the country, folks. The best in the country. He had a leap of 15 feet 6 inches to help the Redhawks to the easy victory. You know, Vasilio also ended up winning the 400 hurdles. Also, Alex Schreiber, he ended up winning the shot put and the discus. Ian Burt ended up winning the long jump and the triple jump. He even won the 400 as well. Also, Eric Brown, he ended up winning the high jump and the 110 hurdles and the 800. Aiden Dredge, he won the javelin. Luke Howard ended up winning the 1 mile, and Jack Storm won the 2 mile, all victory for the Redhawks. Well, the Redhawks took on a very good Greenfield team as well, but it was Frontier that came up on top, 84-60. But it was a very special day for Liviu from Greenfield. Yep, he surprised himself back on Friday in that big meet against Frontier as the senior entered the season hoping to beat the Green Waves record in the high jump. That's right, 6 feet 7 inches in 1/4. So it's really 6, 7 1/4 inches is the record, and it was done back in 2012. Well, guess what? He ended up getting it done. Yep, 6'10". That's right. He ended up being able to break the record at Greenfield High School. Matter of fact, to put this into perspective of how big this is, you know what? His previous high was 6'4". Now, that is a huge improvement. 6'4" to 6'10", that is amazing. 6 inches is a lot of work done by Liviu, and I'm very proud of this kid. He has worked very, very hard to be able to do so well in track and field. Now, I want to bring something into perspective for you. That 6'10", that would have placed him first in the MIAA state tournament by 2 full inches last year. So this kid is on a tear early in the season. You know, by hitting that mark, now he's got things that he can be able to shoot for. And you know what the best part was? Is one of his teachers, Luke Martin, who ended up holding the Greenfield High School record at 6'7" before it was broken in 2012. He was able to be at that meet to be able to see Liviu break that record. And boy, it was really nice, according to Martin, to be able to see how hard this kid has worked. Well, the Redhawks' Jack Vasilio hit the high mark in the pole vault, of course, as well. He ended up having a leap of 15.6. He continues to push himself because he's hoping for the state record before he graduates of 17.2. Boy, I think this kid can do it. Frontier came away with that win. Vasilio also won the 100 and the 400 hurdles to go with that pole vault. Also, Eric Brown ended up with the 800 win. Luke Howard won the 1 mile and the 2 mile. Also, Alex Schreiber, he ended up winning the discus. Aiden Dredge, he won the javelin for Frontier. We want to let you know that Liviu ended up doing well in the 110 hurdles and the 400 hurdles. He ended up winning those two to go with the high jump. Theo Pop, he ended up taking first place in the long jump and the triple jump for Greenfield. Also, Dion Brewington took first in the shot put. And Keegan Dodie Smith ended up winning the 200 for Greenfield in the loss. So nice job right there, and some great accomplishments by a couple athletes early in the year. Well, Frontier girls track and field. Frontier girls had an easy time with the Pioneer girls. Final score was 117-28 as the Frontier girls track and field team, they took all but 2 events with 9 different girls earning first place finishes for the win in South Deerfield. Caroline Crocker, she ended up winning 3 events for Frontier. She took the long jump, the 100 hurdles, and the 200. Abigail Howard, she took first place in the high jump in the 800. Also, Elena Poland, she ended up winning the pole vault and the 400 hurdles. Mickey McCarthy won the shot put. Also, Lily Novak won the discus. Sadie Ross ended up winning the javelin. Hannah Mackin, she won the 1 mile. Josie Fernot ended up winning the 400. Bianca Pura ended up winning the 2 mile. And also, the individual winners ended up doing that well. Well, what about the team ones? Well, Frontier won both, the 4x100 and the 4x400 relays for Our Ladies of Pioneer. We can tell you that Layla Hillman ended up getting first place in the triple jump, and Nina St. Clair ended up winning the 100 in the loss for the Panthers. Well, the Frontier girls took on Greenfield in another match that was last week, and they won big, 127-18. Frontier's Abby Howard, she ended up setting up herself with something special. She got herself her personal record of 5'2", breaking her previous best by 2 inches in the special jump. I'm telling you right now, these girls are so athletic at Frontier. Howard hopes to continue to be able to raise the bar and being able to get to that personal best. She says that her goal is to get to 5'4" by the end of the season. She also took first place in the 800 meters, and yes, it was an easy win over Greenfield. Caroline Crocker, well, she ended up winning the long jump and the 100 hurdles. Ilana Mace Pollen ended up winning the pole vault and the 400 hurdles. Sadie Ross won the javelin. Lily Novak won the discus. Also, Sophia Leon ended up winning the 100 and the 200. Hannah Mackin, she won the 1 mile. Josie Fosnot ends up winning the 400. Bianca Pura, she ends up winning the 2 mile. And then Tess Rancourt and Emma Savoy, well, they were the 2 winners for Greenfield. Rancourt with the shot put and Savoy with the triple jump. Well, the Frontier boys volleyball team is all new in 2022. That's right. They've never had a team, and now they do. And what better coach to be able to have than Coach McDonald? And boy, these guys are off to a great start. They picked up their first win of the program last week with a win over Duggan. Final was 3-0. And they did very well, too. And I will tell you, Dieter, he ended up, putting down 7 kills. Jesse Kirkalonis, he had 6 kills, 10 assists, 7 aces. Frontier pulled off that nice win in Springfield on Monday. And if you talk to the co-coach with Coach McDonald, Courtney Parent, she'll tell you straight up that these kids have worked very hard in practice. Also, we want folks to know that Jackson Harper and Alex Carey, they ended up with 3 kills. Also, Jay Smith Griffin ended up putting down 5 aces. Patrick Boyden had 4 aces in the win for Frontier. Well, they had another match against East Long Meadow, and the final score was 3-2. That baby went 5. That's right. East Long Meadow boys volleyball team didn't make it easy for Frontier, but in the home opener in front of the big crowd over at Goodnoe Gymnasium, they were able to get it done. Boys end up winning. Dieter ends up with 5 kills and 3 aces. Jesse Kirkalonis ends up tossing 9 assists, putting down 5 aces and 5 kills. Peyton Sladowski, he ended up with 4 aces, and he also had 17 digs. And Alex Carey, he ends up with 4 kills in the winning effort for Frontier. Well, then they took on what's going to end up being a rival, folks, the one between Frontier and Athol, 2 of our local Franklin County boys teams. And guess what? In this year's first matchup, it goes to Frontier as they stay unbeaten on the early year with a 3-1 win over Athol. Alex Carey, yep, he put down 15 kills. Teammate Patrick Boyden, he had 11 kills of his own, and they pick up the win in Athol. Dieter, yep, he ends up with 5 kills for Frontier. Peyton Sladowski ends up with 9 aces and 18 digs. Also, Jesse Kirkalonis ends up with 7 aces and 10 assists. Also racking up some nice blocks were Jack Carey. He ended up with 4 of their 10 for Frontier. They are 3-0 in volleyball this season. Well, the Frontier boys tennis program is also brand new in 2022. That's right, 2 brand new sports teams have added in over there in South Deerfield, and the boys tennis team ends up picking up their first win in program history as they picked up a 5-0 win over Sabas. It was a great win for them, and congratulations goes out to Coleman Harkner. He ended up winning the singles match, 6-1, 6-love. Also, Miles Keith ends up winning 6-3, 6-4 at number 2 singles. Number 3 singles goes to Robert Fuqua. He ended up winning 6-4, 6-love. Also, Oliver Brown and Jacob Hahn, they won the number 1 doubles, 7-6, 6-4. And Benjamin Desmond and also his partner, Donovan Vici, they ended up winning 6-2, 10-7 to win at number 2 doubles. Well, Frontier ended up going back against Turner's, where they ended up picking up a 4-0 win last week. Yep, they ended up winning 4-1. And really what happened was one of those wins was by a forfeit at number 2 doubles, but other than that, it was all Frontier, as Miles Keith picked up the 5-7, 6-3, 10-5 win. That's at number 1 singles. Also, we want to let folks know that Frontier's Robert Fuqua ended up earning a win at number 2 singles, 6-love, 6-1. Jacob Hahn won 6-love, 6-love at number 3 singles, and then at the number 1 doubles, it was Frontier's Caden Manning and Harry Wright. They won 6-love, 6-love. So there you go. That's what happened in Frontier Sports last week. Well, now we slide into another school. That's right. It's our folks at Greenfield. Want to welcome you to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C., along with our producer, Philippe Simone. We're glad you made it here as we kick off our spring season. This is our first show of many throughout the rest of the spring, and we're so glad to be here on Greenfield Community Television. Want to let you know that in Greenfield Boys Baseball, the Greenfield Boys Baseball team picked up an easy win over Palmer in their first game of the year last week. Final score was 11-0, and they did it in 6 innings. And this kid was on fire. Devin Doobie, 4 hits, including a double, a triple, brought in a couple of runs, stole 3 bases to help his team to victory. Michael Pierce, MJ Pollen, they each had 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Also, Tyler Podolsky, well, he smashed a double, brought in a pair of runs. TJ Tebow, yep, he ended up with a couple of hits and an RBI for Greenfield's offense as well. David Carey got the win on the mound. He went 3 2/3 innings, and he ended up striking out 9 batters. And then TJ Tebow came in, finished off the game on the hill. He ended up with 3 strikeouts. So a nice start to Greenfield's season with that 11-1 win over Palmer. Well, Greenfield ended up picking up their second victory of the season as they beat Munson. Final score was 8-0. Yep, 2 games into the season, and there you have it. They haven't let up a run yet. That's right, 11-0 in that first game, and now 8-0 against Munson. Well, after defeating Palmer, well, it was time to get back to work. And that's exactly what they did when they welcomed Munson to Vets Field. I can tell you right now that TJ Tebow ended up having a great game. Yep, he struck out 10. Yep, 6 innings worth of work for him. Matter of fact, Coach Tom Schusnick said he had a great game, did a nice job. Threw okay the other day against Palmer, and he threw really well today. Comes down to pitching and defense. If we can be able to hold people to no runs or very little runs, all we have to do is be able to put the bat on the ball and be able to walk away with some wins. At the plate, Greenfield registered 12 hits against Munson. M.J. Pollen, he led the way with 3 singles. Also, Tyler Podolsky and Trevor Kacheski, they each had a pair of hits. Caleb Thomas, David Carey, also Michael Pierce, Drew Conant, and Jackson Petron, they all had a hit in the win for the Green Wave. Well, the Green Wave took on a very good team, and that game was played yesterday, matter of fact. It was a game against East Hampton. And Greenfield couldn't get it done, but it was a great pitcher's duel between David Carey and the pitcher of East Hampton. Final score was East Hampton 3, Greenfield nothing. Saddest part about it was David Carey only gave up 3 hits, and really it was all in that 4th inning where everything sort of collapsed for Greenfield as they let up all 3 runs in that inning. Devin Doobie, Trevor Kacheski, they had the only 2 hits in the loss for Greenfield. Well, the Greenfield girls softball team off to a nice start of the season as well, as Greenfield shut out Athol in the first game of the year, as Mackenzie Pollen was dealing the way she can deal, and this girl is a great talent for this Green Wave team. She's only a freshman. That's right, last year she was an 8th grader playing varsity, and boy, she is going to be something special in the circle. Well, we could tell you that she ended up striking out 13 batters, gave up just 2 hits, and surrendered 2 walks as she picked up that shutout win, 8-0 against Athol to kick off the year. The Green Wave opened up with 2 runs in the 2nd inning. They tacked on 3 in the 4th, another in the 6th, and then they picked up 2 insurance runs in the 7th inning to secure the win. I can tell you that Carly Blanchard, what a great day she had. She ended up with 3 hits for Greenfield. Caitlin Lavoine, her and Ellis Benitez ended up with 2 hits, while Mackenzie Pollen, Amber Bergeron each had a single in the win for Greenfield. We can also let you know that Greenfield ended up getting into the 2nd game of the year with an easy win over Hopkins. Final score was 15-4. Caitlin Lavoine goes 4 for 5 with a triple, a home run, 6 RBI. Also, Greenfield had an easy ride with other people who are getting it done too. Bree Widello, how about her home run for Greenfield? Yep, she had herself a pair of runs that were scored too. Ellis Benitez ended up with 4 hits and an RBI. Carly Blanchard, she had a pair of hits and 2 RBI. Rachel Dodge ends up with 2 hits, an RBI in the win. Mackenzie Pollen, well, she pitched the first 4 innings for Greenfield, striking out 6 batters. And then Ellis Benitez ended up coming in for the final 3, where she ended up with a pair of strikeouts. Well, Greenfield got into a really good team that they had to take on this past week, and that game was played yesterday as they took on Westfield. Final score was Westfield 7, Greenfield 1. Caitlin Lavoine, she had the lone RBI single. That was it for Greenfield. Rachel Dodge and Ellis Benitez ended up with singles as well. 3 hits was all that they could muster in that one. Mackenzie Pollen and Ellis Benitez, they both struck out 3 in the circle for Greenfield. Well, the Greenfield girls track and field team ended up having a game against Frontier, and we talked about all that, where they ended up getting beat 127-18. And of course, we talked about the boys as they ended up getting beat by Frontier as well. And then it was Greenfield girls tennis. That's right, they kicked off their season, and they're off to a good start, 2-0 on the year, as Greenfield beat Frontier 3-1. Yep, the Green Wave, they ended up sweeping the single matches. Yep, that's the way they get things done. Number 1 singles ends up going to Jenna Keith, who wins 6-2, 6-love. Greenfield Senior. Also, Kovalenko, she ended up winning at number 2, 6-4, 6-love. And Junior, Caitlin Collins, she won at the number 3 spot, 6-love, 6-2. The lone Frontier win was at number 1 doubles, where Sam Baker and Sydney Scanlon ended up winning 6-3, 6-love. And then Greenfield picked up the 3-2 victory over Mohawk as Jenna Keith set the tone at number 1. She ended up winning 6-1, 6-4. Also, they ended up sweeping the doubles. It's exactly what they did as Caitlin Phillips and Rory Rory Townsend, they ended up winning 6-1, 6-1. Also, number 2 doubles were won by Mirab and Rebecca Kovalenko. They ended up winning 6-1, 6-love. And then Paige King ended up winning for Mohawk 7-5, 5-7, 7-5 at number 2 singles. And Palmer King won at the number 3 singles for Mohawk 6-3, 6-2. You know, sometimes what happens is I'm going through here, and because of the fine print, I sometimes miss a line, and I get a little confused there. But there you go. That's what's happening in Greenfield. So right now, we've already cleaned up Greenfield, and we've already cleaned up Frontier, but we still got many schools to go. Want to welcome you to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C., along with my producer, Philippe Simone. We're sitting here in the studios at Greenfield Community Television, and we got to get into our next school. Oh, yes. It's our ladies that'll kick us off from Turners Falls. And what ladies team is great when it comes to Turners Falls spring sports? Of course, the softball team. Well, they picked up a 9-3 victory to kick off the year against Smith Academy. The defending state champions ended up getting off to a good start. Katie Wozniak had 3 hits, including a home run. She brought in 3 runs. What a nice day she had. Emily Young ends up with 3 hits and an RBI. Olivia Stafford ends up with a home run, going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Morgan DeBias with a single and a double. Paige Schulda, her, and Maddie Lamatanian, as well as Madison Dietz, ends up with doubles. And we can't forget about Skyla LePan. She had a single. Maddie Lamatanian struck out 13 of the Smith Academy Falcon batters to pick up the easy win. Well, the Turners girls, their second game of the year against the very good Athol team. Well, after 8 innings because of dark, they ended up ending in a 7-7 tie. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that they're going to be continuing this game when they meet the next time. So, where they usually have a game that'll start at about 7, that game might start at 6:30 or 6 as they try to finish that one up. And I can tell you that Maddie Lamatanian had a great day. How about 15 strikeouts in 8 innings of work? That's a great day in the circle. Also, we want to let you know that she ended up with 3 hits and 2 RBIs. Also, Paige Schulda ends up with a single and a triple. Katie Wozniak with a single and a double. Emily Young had a triple. Also, Morgan DeBias and Jenna Petrovich ends up with singles for Turners. Once again, 7-7 tie in that one. That game will resume when they play each other again later in the season. Well, Turners took on a very good East Hampton team, and I must tell you that East Hampton, they did something that a lot of folks don't do. They ended up beating the defending state champions. Final score was 8-5. They scored 4 runs in the top of the 7th inning, and that was what they needed. And even Gary Mullen said, quote, "They had some timely hits. That's how you win games." He says, "We got great kids. They work hard. We got a long way to go. But I'll tell you this, we're going to be a much better softball team at the end of the year." I agree with Coach Mullins 100%. Now, even though Turners lost their ace pitcher, Maddie Lamatanian, and you know the saddest part is 14 strikeouts, and they still lose. 14 strikeouts out of 21 outs, and they still get beat. So sad that they lost that game under such great pitching by Maddie. Well, this is the talk of the week, and I gotta clap. The Turners Falls boys baseball team. Let me just tell you something. This team is made up of middle schoolers and high schoolers. And I must tell you, they are off to an amazing start after having such a tough year last year. The Turners Falls boys baseball team scored 3 runs in the first inning against the Franklin County Tech, and they ended up letting their main guy on the mound, Alex Kuzada, do the rest. And that's exactly what that freshman did. 6 innings for Turners, kept the Tech bats at bay, struck out 13 of the batters, and guess what? His team picked up a 3-2 win over the Franklin County Tech. Yep, matter of fact, this is why I clapped, folks. It's the first win since 2019 for the Turners Falls team, where last year they won none. They went 0-12 last year. This year, they are off to an amazing start, and we're going to share these games with you right here on the show today. You know, when you talk to Scott Minkler and you ask how things are going, he said, quote, "I feel good for these guys. They're the ones who are putting in the time. They're the ones that are working hard and coming up at big moments." And that's exactly what they did. Levin Prondecki, Cam Burnett, also Lincoln Coleman, well, they each had singles and RBIs for Turners. Kuzada, he ended up with a hit as well. For the Tech School, one of their good ball players, Jake Whitney, him and Kyle Bagos, well, they ended up with impressive days on the hill as well. Whitney ended up striking out 4, but he did give up 5 hits, though, in 4 2/3 innings. Bagos, well, he ended up just being able to give up 4 hits, but there was really no more issues after that. I will tell you, though, that the Tech School got beat by Turner's boys in baseball to kick off the 2022 year 3-2. Turners, back at it again, take on Mohawk, and they pick up a 5-0 win over the Warriors. Yep, make it 2 in a row on the season for the Turners Falls boys baseball team. Joey Mosca, also Kanan Stevens, as well as Emmanuel Villafina and Derek Wisman, well, they ended up surrendering just a couple of hits. They all sort of worked together on the mound. You know, maybe this is what they need to do. They need to throw maybe 3 or 4 different guys in the game so that they can try to be able to have fresh arms. Well, so far it's working out well for Coach Minkler. Devin Prondecki, he ended up with an RBI single. Devin Sloan, he ended up with a single. Jake Leon ended up with a pair of RBIs for Turners in the win. Logan Moore, him and Hunter Donahue each had a hit for Mohawk in the loss. We also want folks to know that Mohawk's Oliver Johnson struck out 4 on the hill in the loss to Turners. Turners, back at it again for their 3rd game of the year. They pick up an 8-5 win over Hoosick Valley. After going 0-12 last year, they're now 3-0 on the young season. Derek Wisman struck out 2 in 3 innings on the mound. Also, Kanan Stevens, well, he didn't give up a hit in his 2 innings on the mound. Alex Kuzada, he came in for the final 2 and struck out 4. Leading Turners Falls to, yes, another big win. Levin Prondecki continues his hot hitting. He ends up with a couple of doubles and an RBI. Alex Kuzada ends up with 2 hits. Derek Wisman, Lincoln Coleman, they each had a hit and an RBI. Also, Joey Mosca had a single in the win for Turners. Turners baseball, 3-0, baby, on the young season. That's just a great story. Let's talk about Turners Falls girls track and field. Well, they ended up taking on Mohawk, and they took on Pioneer. Let's talk about the game that they had the meet against Mohawk, where Mohawk won 117-28. The Mohawk girls track and field team came away with that big win, but Emmy Sissom really won the 400 hurdles and the triple jump for Mohawk. Also, Savannah Simmons, well, she won the high jump and the triple jump, and Ellie Pinkham ended up the victor in the 400 and the 200 for the Warriors in the win. We can let you know that Lindley Rollins ended up winning the discus for Turners. Well, they ended up taking on Pioneer. Turners girls got beat 112-35, and one of their other meets last week. We can let you know that Sienna Hillman, she is pretty special. She ended up winning the 100 hurdles and the 400 hurdles. Also, Haley Ring, she took the 200, the long jump, and the triple jump. Also, Caroline Ring, her sister, won the shot put, discus, and javelin as they led the way for Pioneer. Other Pioneer winners include Nina St. Clair. She won the 100 and the high jump. Brianna May, she won the 1 mile, the pole vault, and the 800 for Pioneer. Want folks to know that Elise Wolf won the 400 and Anna Morrissey won the 2 mile for Turners Falls. So there you have it. Turners Falls, Greenfield, and Frontier. We've talked about all those great sports teams and how they've done so far to kick off the brand new season. Want to welcome you to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. I hope you're doing well. We're here again for the spring season. Thank you so much to Philippe Simone. You know, Philippe and I, this is our 6th year that we started this 6 years ago. And we did it in a little studio that was downstairs on the radio station of Greenfield Community Television. And then we decided to get it into the big room. And that's where we are right here in the big studio upstairs. And I don't know what I'd do without this guy. He's just been a true pleasure to be able to work with. It's so nice to be able to know that we have that professionalism where we can work together to make it fun. And we do this all for one reason. That's it. One. It's about the kids. And if you ask Philippe why he does the sports stuff he does, he'll tell you it's not about the pay. It's about making sure that we can give the kids the coverage they need here on our local TV station at Greenfield Community Television. And you can be able to find all that stuff on our YouTube page. So just remember, you can always go to our YouTube page to be able to see the show and other great things that are done in the community as well. And I'll tell you, he did an amazing little documentary that was on the fire station and how everything is going with the temporary fire station. He went through, he did an amazing job with that. Take a peek at that. You'll be very pleased on the great work that this guy does each and every week right here in our community. Well, the Franklin County Tech boys baseball team, as we know, they ended up losing that game to Turner's Falls 3-2. But guess what? They picked up a game. They ended up winning over Smith Academy last week. Franklin County Tech boys baseball team beat Smith Academy 7-5. Sammy Knight, Jake Whitney, well, they smacked a single and a double. Also, Nate Fuse, he ends up drilling a nice double in the win. Kyle Bagos, well, he picked up the win on the mound, and Alex Sulda ended up picking up the save. And then the Tech School took on Pathfinder. They picked up that win yesterday. Yep, final score was 10-5. Jake Whitney picked up the win on the mound for the Franklin County Tech boys baseball team, struck out 6. Nice job for them to defeat Pathfinder to make themselves 2-1 on the year. At the plate, Whitney helped himself. How about 4 for 5 with a triple? And Sammy Knight ends up with 2 hits, including a double, and Alex Sulda ends up with a double in the win as well for the Tech School. So great job, guys. Well, the Franklin County Tech girls softball team is very good. And I will tell you, folks, they are very good. How about this? They played 2 games so far. How many runs do you think they've let up this year? Goose egg. First game, they beat the Hamden Charter School, 23-0. Their second game, they beat Smith Academy, 12-0. And that happened yesterday. Let's talk about that Hamden Charter game. Very impressive all-around day for the Tech girls softball team. Tell you right now, Lauren Ross, her, and Hannah Gilbert, they combined on 5 innings of no-hit and a shutout. How sweet is that? The 2 pitchers combined for 14 strikeouts, and they only had 1 walk. At the plate, Franklin County ended up with, you got it, 18 hits. How do you go wrong with that? Let's talk about these girls. Caitlin Trudeau, Hannah Gilbert, Gianna DeShillo. They each had 2 hits. Also, Gilbert, she drove in 4 runs. Freshman Christine Given ended up with a home run, and she drove in 3 runs. Cordelia Guerin ends up with 3 RBIs, and Lauren Ross, she had a pair of runs batted in. Now let's get to the next game, where they took on Smith Academy, that game that was played yesterday. We got to do another clap. Lauren Ross did everything she needed to do, and guess what she did, folks? She ended up setting down all 15 Smith Academy batters she faced in a 5-inning perfect game of 5 innings in their softball game win. That's right, a perfect game for the 5 innings. Ross struck out 13 of the 15 batters that were faced. Franklin County's coach, and I'll tell you, the Tech is very proud, and we know how Joe Gamache is. He said she did a great job hitting her spots, mixing up her pitches, and keeping the hitters off balance. It's exactly what she did. Offensively, she got it done as well. Lauren ended up with 3 for 3 with a nice couple RBIs. Also, Kylie Gamache, which is the coach's daughter, another great softball player, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Hannah Gilbert smacked a home run. Cordelia Guerin, a double, scored a run. Kendra Campbell, her, and Lillian Day all had hits in the win. And Lillian Ross ended up scoring 3 runs. What an excellent team they truly are. All right, let's get into Franklin County Tech boys track and field. Yep, that's their only other sports team they have in the spring, and that's where the Tech boys picked up a win over Mohawk, 80-58. That's right, they got their season off to a good start. Now they co-op with Turner's Falls, just so you know. Now they had 4 boys with multiple event wins to come away with that victory over Mohawk, as Braden McCord ended up leading the way with a trio of wins for the Tech. Yep, he ended up taking first in the long jump, triple jump, and the 100. Brody Williams, he won the shot put in the javelin. Owen LaValle won the pole vault in the 400 hurdles. Landon Hardy, he took first place in the 110 hurdles in the 200. Grayson Rollins, he picked up first place in the discus, all for the Tech. Now let's talk about Mohawk. Dennis Simmons took first place in the 1 mile and the 2 mile. He is one of the best runners in the state. Also, we want folks to know that Emmett Johnson took the 400. Vincent Gauthier ends up winning the 800 in the loss for the Warriors. Mohawk, by the way, they won both relays. They won the 4x100 and the 4x400. And then the Franklin County Tech boys, well, they took on the Pioneer boys and they picked up a win 100-40. So they're 2-0 on the year. Now, this was something that was fun to be able to see, as Brody Williams ended up having a great day with the shot put in the javelin. Also, Anthony Gallo, he ended up winning the mile and the 2 mile. How about Braden McCord? Well, he proved that he gets it done too. He won the triple jump. He also won the 100. Tell you right now, they are a very good team. Grayson Rollins, he won the discus. Josiah Little won the long jump. Owen LaValle won the pole vault. David Stowe, he ended up winning the 100 hurdles. Patrick Connell Jr. won the 400 hurdles. Cameron Candelaria, he ended up winning the 200 for the Franklin County Tech. The Eagles also won the 4x100 in a time of only 50 seconds. Jonathan Bodenstein, well, him for Pioneer, he won the high jump and the 800. His brother Sam Bodenstein won the 400 for Pioneer. Pioneer ended up winning the 4x400 relay, and they end up getting beaten this one 100-40. So there you go, another school, all their updates of what they did in the first week of the spring season. Well, let's get into Mohawk. There's not a lot of Mohawk because we've already talked a lot about Mohawk, but what about the girls softball team? Well, they had a game, we've got to talk about them. They ended up getting beat 12-0 to Wacona. I can tell you that Sophie Guy, her and Eileen Moffitt, well, they ended up with a hit each for Mohawk in the loss. And I can tell you that Riley Girard ended up with 2 strikeouts in the loss for Mohawk. Boys baseball team also had a chance to be able to play for Mohawk. They had a pair of games last week, one against Marhar, one against Turner's Falls. We already talked about the game against Turner's Falls, but let's talk about the game against Marhar. Final score was 8-4. Trailing 4-3 to Mohawk going into the bottom of the 6th inning. Marhar ends up racking up those 5 runs, and that was the killer in that one. And they end up pulling away in that 6th inning to get the 8-4 win. I can tell you that Logan Moore struck out 7 on the mound of 5 innings for Mohawk. By the way, Owen Lake, he ended up with 2 hits. Yep, he had a double and 3 RBIs for Mohawk. Hunter Donahue ended up with a pair of hits. Logan Moore, as well as Ty Griswold, Phineas Tutman, and also Weston Den Oden and Devin Buchanan, well, they all had singles in the loss for the Warriors. Well, we want to let folks know that the Mohawk girls track and field team, they ended up taking on Athol, and they picked up a win, 117-15. Ellie Pinkham, she took first place in 4 events. Emily Sissom ended up winning 3 events for Mohawk as they win in Buckland. Sissom took the triple jump, the javelin, and the 400 hurdles. Pinkham, she won the 100, the 200, the 400, and the long jump. Other Warrior winners, well, we can tell you that Savannah Simmons ended up winning the pole vault, Lily Jenks with the 100 hurdles, and Natalie Lanou won the 1 mile and the 2 mile. We also want folks to know that Anya Reed ended up winning the 800. Mohawk won both the 4x100 and the 4x400 relay races as well with the easy win. Well, we want to let you know that the Mohawk boys track and field team ended up taking on Athol as well. They picked up a win, 89-50. And I can tell you right now, they got some kids who can really get it done for them. And I can say that Che has been one of their really good ball players, and he is just a great talent. Triple jump, high jump, 400 hurdles, excellent. Dennis Simmons, guy can run. Well, he won the 400 and the mile. Other Mohawk winners include Sean O'Day, who won the long jump, Emmett Johnson, the pole vault, Vincent Gauthier, the 800, and Wyatt Ailing ended up winning the 2 mile. By the way, Mohawk won both those relays too. Yep, they won the 4x100 and the 4x400. And because of weather and moisture, they didn't have a lot of action going on in Mohawk last week. All right, we pull up another school. It's our final school, but I got some individual accolades we're going to talk about too. I love talking about accolades. I like when we could be able to say congratulations for hard work. Last school, Pioneer, and the Pioneer boys baseball team is very good. How do I know? I was a manager of Greenfield minor league baseball 25 years. These kids that are now playing for Pioneer in Greenfield, they played for me. Played tournament ball for Bobby C. It's pretty cool. Let's talk about our Pioneer game against Smith Academy, where the Pioneer boys pick up a 3-1 win. Yeah, it was a pitcher's duel happening over there in good old Hatfield. Jason Quinn striking out 9 batters, surrendered just 2 hits in 5 innings of work. And then his younger brother, Ethan, who is a great talent, he ended up coming in and struck out 6 over the final 2 innings. By the way, Ethan Quinn, middle schooler. Just want you to know. Sean Allen ended up with a single, 2 RBI. Jared Hubbard, Hugh Syhowski, they each had singles in the win for Pioneer. Well, then they get back action again. They ended up being in an easy win against Mahar. Final score was 11-1. Jared Hubbard, he ended up tossing 5 scoreless innings while striking out 12 and just allowing 2 hits as Pioneer defeated the Mahar. What are they, the Senators? Yes, they are. Ethan Quinn ended up with 3 hits. Jared Hubbard, 2 hits and an RBI. Peter Loud, 2 hits and an RBI. Ian Simpson, 2 hits. Hugh Syhowski, a double, 2 RBI. Braden Tupanak ends up with a single and 2 RBI. We got Sean Allen with a couple of singles and an RBI. Ben Werner had a single and an RBI. All those kids all came through GMLB. Pretty cool stuff. Let's talk about their win against Sci Tech and another congratulations. Pioneer 14, Sci Tech nothing in 5 innings. Pioneer's Hugh Syhowski, he pitched a 5-inning perfect game. That's right. He struck out 9, had some help on defense, tossed that perfect game last year as a member of the Greenfield baseball team against Turner's Falls before he transferred this year to Pioneer. And I will tell you that Kevin Leupold, who was the JV coach for Greenfield and was working with Syhowski last year, is now the varsity coach at Pioneer. And he said, quote, "Seeing Hugh grow the last couple years has been a joy to watch. He's a gamer. He's one of the most enjoyable pitchers I've seen. I'm excited to be part of his growth and see how his career goes from here." Now that's a pretty nice compliment from a head coach. Jared Hubbard, Hub is awesome. I love the Hub. Had a home run, a single, finished with 3 RBIs in the win. Braden Thayer, a pair of hits and an RBI. Ian Simpson with a triple and single. Ethan Quinn had an RBI double. Sean Allen, he ends up with a single. And Jason Quinn had a single in the win for Pioneer, 3-0 on the year. And yes, my buddy Hugh Syhowski, with a perfect game. That is awesome. All right. We had a chance to go over the track and field team for Pioneer, for both the boys and the girls, and you're updated on that as well. Now, I want to get into something fun. These are individual awards that happened during the winter, and there was a special ceremony that was held for some football players that was held on April 3rd. Let's talk about it. The Western Massachusetts chapter of the National Football Foundation, they had their annual awards banquet that was held at the UMass campus auditorium in the lower level back on Sunday, April 3rd. And they honored Western Massachusetts first teamers, and we ended up having some Greenfield High School players and two brothers from Frontier who ended up getting awards. In Division 7, first team, David Carey, senior. Drew Conant, senior. Brendan Driscoll, senior. All from Greenfield High School. In Division 8, first team, the Samaski brothers, John, a senior, and Josh, a senior. By the way, those are twin brothers. Think about this. Twin brothers, they both get first team in football. Let me tell you, their father was a good football player out of Greenfield High School. And let me tell you something, that kid hit hard and often. And these boys have that same eye of the tiger. Western Massachusetts hockey, they finally came down with all of the awards for Class B. And these are all Greenfield High School honorees. What a crew I will announce here today. First team, senior, Kevin Bauman. Josh Bordeaux, goalie, junior. Sammy Knight, junior. Shane Prusak, junior. Oh, so out of first team, out of 4, 3 are coming back, including the goalie. GHS hockey can be pretty special. Let's continue on. Second team, MJ Pollan, senior. Trevor Kacheski, junior. He's back next year. Honorable mention, freshman, Matt Garvin. Freshman, Jake Jurek. And junior, Matt Lavoine. So, I did the math. 9 All-Stars from Greenfield. I also did the math. Guess what, folks? 2 seniors. That is pretty incredible. Wow. Amazing. All Western Mass basketball for the boys. It finally came out. I didn't think it was ever going to come out, but it finally did. Let's talk about it. Class B, first team, senior Frontier, Ian Spearance. Junior Frontier, Joe Thompson. Honorable mention, senior Dylan Martin. Class C, first team, senior Greenfield High School, David Carey. Franklin County Tech Junior, Ty Sadowski. Second team, Class C, John Breer, freshman, Greenfield High School. Honorable mention, freshman, Greenfield High School, Caleb Murray. Class D, first team, senior, Andrew Ciaglo, Hopkins. Colin Earl, Hopkins, senior. Jared Hubbard, Pioneer, senior. Braden Fair, Pioneer, freshman. Honorable mention, Class D, senior, Pioneer, Jalen McGraw, and sophomore, Pioneer, Josh Wood. Wow. All Western Mass Wrestling, Division 3. Let's get right into it. First team selections. Franklin County Tech senior, Josh Burnell. Senior, Frontier, Peyton Sadowski. Mohawk, William Van Vliet. Second team selections, Jake Matson, Frontier. Logan Moore, freshman, Mohawk. all those kids, they work for a common goal, to be the best that they can be. We just threw out tons of applause, and all those all-stars, all in one show. You got to hear all these kids' hard work. Now you know why I love doing the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, because it gives me the chance to be able to share with you folks these great achievements. Of course, we have another week. We got a lot that's going on this week. A lot of teams are in the heart of things. You're going to start seeing more and more things start happening as the season goes on. We'll be keeping you updated on how things go as we get closer to tournament time, how these teams are doing. We'll be able to talk about all that on this show. So I want to let folks know that Philippe Simone and I, we have really been able to take the time each and every week to make sure that you folks get to share this with everyone. You could take this show and you can be able to share it with everyone on your Facebook page. You can be able to share this on your special media pages that you would like to be able to share for folks that are relatives. By the way, you know what else you can do? You can go to gctv.org. That's gctv.org. If you go to the YouTube page, you can be able to get this over to all your relatives, and you can give them that website, and they can be able to watch this show anywhere in the world. Let me say that again. Anywhere in the world. That's right, they can. And you, of course, can be able to tune in each and every week, nice and easily, on TV as well. We're on Channel 15. We're even on Channel 17, too. Yep, you can pop on the TV and enjoy us as well. And you know what Philippe even does? He even puts it on the radio for us, too, at 107.9 FM. We are so fortunate to have a great outlet. So on behalf of Philippe Simone, I'm Bobby C., and I want to say thank you for joining us for another week of the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. Want to say thank you to Albert Hearing Services, Franklin First Federal Credit Union, and by Manny's Appliances. Until we meet again next week, you have yourself a wonderful week, and remember, support your local athletes.